Rebel Moon Part 1. 2 words. Mythically awesome. Zack Snyder gives us a sci-fi film filled with raw action sequences, satisfying slow motion, low angle shots, and an opera-like soundtrack. This movie was originally going to be Zack Snyder's entry into the Star Wars universe. I remember it being described as the 7 Samurai of Star Wars. But now that I've seen the film, I'm so glad we didn't get to see the Star Wars version. There are themes and ideas explored in this movie that would have never been able to be tapped into in a Star Wars movie. But there are story elements that fit perfectly in the Star Wars universe. This movie has its own bounty hunters, Imperials, its own resistance, lightsabers, this movie's Darth Vader and the Emperor, and the Mos Eisley Cantina. There's even a scene where Pigface bothers our heroes in the cantina, but this time Snyder reconstructs the scene the way he did with superheroes in Watchmen, and it's actually an interesting take on the scene. Besides Star Wars, this movie is also heavily influenced by the heavy metal comic series from the 80s, which is supposed to be this violent, dark, and erotic sci-fi magazine. I haven't checked it out, but after hearing Snyder and Rogan talk about it, I want to check it out. The opening scene where the Imperium walks into the village asking for their bushels of grain was pretty intense. It kind of reminded me of Tarantino's opening scene for Inglourious Basterds. You know, the scene with Hans Landa and the French father? This movie is a bit sexual, which I thought was weird at first. But then after seeing Snyder talk with Joe Rogan about how the Spartans used love as a way to fuel their soldiers, I thought it made sense. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you do. It's a great watch for any Zack Snyder fan, cinephile, or superhero aficionado. Like all of Snyder's films, there is an aesthetic that is pleasing to the eye and great to watch. In all of Snyder's films, Zack puts his actors in a rigorous training routine that makes them look great on screen, and this movie is no exception. Sofia Boutella, who plays Cora in this movie, is absolutely stunning. Aside from her jaw-dropping beauty, the physicality and emotional performance she brings to this role makes it really enjoyable to watch her kick ass on the big screen. I saw an interview where she explained that she did Pilates and trained with Alessandro Comodina, a badass Italian bodybuilder who also happens to be Zack Snyder's trainer. Damon House, however you say his name, is huge in this movie. Like, his quads in this movie are unreal. His shoulder, wow, wait, he got bulky and ripped, boy. Also, Cyborg, god damn, he's strong as f in this movie. Everybody in this movie looks like Hercules. I also didn't realize that Carrie Ools played the king in this movie. My boy, Robin of Locksley.
Because, unlike some other Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent.
And Anthony Hopkins does the voice work for an anthropomorphic robot. We didn't get to see much of that character, but it kind of seems like he's going to play a bigger role in the second movie. The anthropomorphic robot kind of seemed like very pacifist, like he didn't want to fight. Like, I'm guessing something bad's going to happen in the second movie that kind of forces him to go dicks out, you know, like just shooting everybody and killing everybody, being badass as f. It's probably going to be the death of that blonde girl. This is a brand new IP. What I mean by that is that this is no reboot or adaptation or sequel to an existing franchise. So Snyder has to do some world building that he explains in this movie. But to be honest, when I tried following the lore, I would get confused. There was just too much information thrown at me at once. Maybe cutting back would help the audience use their imagination and be even more intrigued. Another thing I didn't enjoy as much was how rushed some of the characters' recruiting was. I didn't get a chance to really connect with some of the characters. There's an R-rated version coming in the summer, and Snyder claims it's a different movie and that the journey is different. So I'm hoping we get to dive deeper into more of the characters and get more insights into who they are. And also hopefully more s***. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be posting more videos like this one. Before I go, this is just a reminder to be good to yourself. Exercise regularly and try to eat well. You deserve it. My name is Zack Snyder and
28% fresh. That is just rude.
Pull up in that mask where you just want some fanfare. These days humble come rare. Flashy looks, people stare. You're so lost like tears in rain. Run your